See, which I will solve. Which of the following is least likely to cause an unfavorable material usage variance? Again, before proceeding at theory questions, theory should be absolutely clear to you. You can't move at questions directly. You need to understand them. The question says, which of the following is least likely to cause an unfavorable usage variance? First of all, what is usage variance? I have told you don't use the formula. Difference in quantity multiplied by, because it is not the production manager has no control over price, and you cannot hold him accountable for price. So difference in quantity will always be, write it like this, you will not need 1 day of formula in your life in standard costing. Yes, it's boring to go step by step, but you will not need 1 day of formula in your life. Write it like the formula directly, you will struggle. Now they are telling me this is unfavorable. Unfavorable means adverse. Unfavorable can only happen if actual quantity consumed was more than standard. There is no other way. Because I told you, if within bracket it's unfavorable, no matter what price you multiply it with. You were supposed to do your job with 1 kg. You took 1.5 kg. Now it's unfavorable only, no matter what price you paid. Unless you paid zero. That is the only situation. But that is not the case ever. So let's read. Machinery that has not been maintained properly. Yes, it's possible. You know why? Because if machinery was not maintained properly, wastage will be high. That is why I say you should rewatch the recordings. Because here I am discussing in depth. When you visit the questions again, watch the recordings again, your understanding will improve. Let's see, if machinery is not maintained properly, maybe the wastage is very, very high. And in that case, it is possible that actual quantity consumed will be higher than standard quantity allowed. It's like if your mixer is not working properly, no matter what fruit juice you are taking out, wastage will be higher. Scheduling of substantial overtime. Yes, this is telling me something is a problem. Otherwise, if you have substantial overtime, that means labor was not able to do the job in the required time. That also tells me most likely you might have used extra material. That is why you need extra hours, no? Because see, when you are preparing the budget, when you say labor also you prepare 1 hour, 1 unit, 8 hours, 8 units. So if actual quantity consumed was more, the work cannot be completed in 8 hours. Might have taken 9 hours, 9.5 hours, 8.5. This is substantial overtime. This is telling me material used was more. Maybe, most likely. A and B definitely are directly pointing at labor efficiency. You should always watch this again. Because when I'm discussing the answer, that is where your understanding will improve. In especially theory questions. D, materials that do not meet specification. That means less than the required quality. Of course, if you have purchased poor quality material, that will be, wastage can be high. That will give you favorable price variance and unfavorable usage variance. So ABD is not the answer. Yes, but why C? Because you are telling labor that possess skills equals to those required by the standards. You wanted a labor with X amount, X level of skills. You have hired labor with X level of skills. That should not cause material usage variance. That should not be the reason of material usage variance. Can still be, but here we are talking about least likely. C is your answer. Are we clear? See again, during the month of May, a company experienced a significant unfavorable. Now see, during the month of May, a company experienced a significant unfavorable material efficiency variance. Again, material efficiency variance is unfavorable. Actual quantity is less than standard quantity for actual production. In the production of its single product at one of the company's plants. Which one of the following reasons would be least likely to explain why the unfavorable variance arose? Least likely to explain. Again, same. A. Workers used were less skilled than expected. Yes, if you have used lower skill leveled workers, it can give rise to unfavorable material efficiency variance. Yes. C. Inferior material, of course, wastage will be high. I just discussed this in the previous question. D. Replacement production equipment had just been installed. Most likely, yes. Because if you have just installed replacement production equipment, maybe workers are using it for the first time. Maybe. B cannot be the case because if actual production was lower or higher than planned production, you have already adjusted that while preparing the flexible budget. Standard quantity for actual production, you don't take master budget data. If actual production was less, let's say master budget production was 2,800 and you produce 2,500, you will take standard quantity for 2,500 or 2,800. So that cannot be the reason. Understood? Again, see this question. A corporation's marketing department recently accepted a rush order. Order was very quickly accepted. A corporation's marketing department recently accepted a rush order for what? For a non-stock item from a valued customer. Non-stock means the item was not in their inventory. Non-stock from a valued customer. And customer is important. So work has to be done. Watch this entire thing again. Today, tomorrow, whenever. Watch all the things again if you want to master the standard costing concept. जितनी बार पढ़ोगे उतना क्लैरिटी मिलेगा because when I am solving and I am discussing, I will discuss very quickly and you might not have the time to make notes. But if you listen again, घर में सुनो तो इसको मूवी की तरह मत देखो कि वीडियो चल रहा है मूवी चल रहा है नहीं पॉज करके नोट्स बनाओ when I'm telling why this can lead to, why this can lead to. Once you start writing and flow only, then only you will understand the flow and then only your concepts will improve. अदरवाइज अगर घर में मूवी की तरह इसको देख रहे हो तो काम नहीं आएगा कि सर स्पीकिंग आई एम लिसनिंग ना यू हैव टू पॉज एंड मेक नोट्स आई कैन नॉट से एवरीवेयर टू मेक नोट्स यू हैव टू मेक योर ओन नोट्स एट मेनी प्लेसेस I have filled 400-500 pages. 500 pages you guys have to fill for yourself. Aim for 400 plus. Now, see, a corporation's marketing department recently accepted a rush order for a non-stock item. Item was not in stock from a valued customer. Marketing department has accepted the order. Marketing department has filed the necessary paperwork with the production department. Of course, because production department has to manufacture the same. So marketing department went and said to production department, please, production department, which complained greatly about the lack of time to do the job the right way. Production department complained there is no time to do the job the right way. Nevertheless, the production department accepted the manufacturing commitment. But production department still said, okay, I shall do the same. And file the required paperwork with the purchasing department. You need to purchase raw material, sales, production, purchase budget. For the needed raw materials, a purchasing clerk temporarily misplaced the paperwork. Production department filled the paperwork and gave it to purchase department. Purchase department clerk misplaced the same. By the time the paperwork was found, it was too late to order from the company's regular supplier. It's like somewhere here, there. The way you guys took the printout today, it was too late to do the job the right way. So new supplier was found, and that vendor quoted a very attractive price. Attractive price, maybe the price was low. First time order, na? You want business. You are telling a very attractive price, attractive from company's point of view. When will company find a price attractive when the price is low? सस्ता ही attractive होगा कंपनी के लिए. The materials arrived and were rushed into production. The moment materials came, they were rushed into bypassing the normal inspection process as directed by the production department supervisor to make up for. See what has happened. Till here, what story? And again, that is why I say you should take printouts of this. Follow the lead when I am discussing at home, when you are watching, and keep on making notes in the question itself so that your notes are clear. Marketing department, this is the first faulty party, accepted a rush order. Production department complained but said, okay, I will still do it. And purchase department. This clerk misplaced. By the time the paperwork was found, too late. So they found a new vendor. New vendor quoted an attractive price. Attractive price always means cheap price. Now what happened? Material arrived and were rushed directly into production. No inspection was done. I had discussed na Swiggy delivery, rice. No inspection. Why? Because production department supervisor said so. Why? Because time was lost here also. This misplace. Unfortunately, the goods were off and created considerable difficulty for the assembly line personnel. Which of the following best indicates the responsibility for the material usage variance? If the goods were of low quality, actual quantity consumed would have been higher than the standard quantity. Ha. So if you follow this all, this is a long story. Everybody is guilty. First of all, actual quantity, of course, has to be higher, but everybody is guilty. That's what they are asking, responsibility. Marketing department is faulty because they accepted a rush order. Production department is also guilty. Supervisor rushed the material into process. And you cannot say you had already, or you accepted no order. Whatever that other guy said, you also gave a commitment, and purchase department is directly. Again and again, I'm telling, take printouts and then watch this entire story again, unfold in your homes. It will be much more comfortable for you. For betterment of your understanding, I will only solve theory questions, which are way more complicated to solve compared to numericals, which are simple.